All right, man. Fucking shit.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to another episode of In Those Who Trust podcast. My name is Malik Howard. Again, for is this 3 or 4?
I think it's three.
3. Week 3 of Sports Trust Talk. I have, again, my boy Liam in the building.
League, what's up? What's up?
What's going on, my guy? First, before I begin, regardless of sports and everything like that, next week we do have a podcast coming out with Roy, and that was recorded before the passing of Takeoff. And I want to say rest in peace, Takeoff. I'm tired of seeing what I'm seeing in the news. I know that's far and none besides talking about sports, but I still wanted to mention it because it is something that took me by surprise. And it's at the point now where in the mornings I'm starting not to go on social media like on Instagram. Like now I just go straight to YouTube and just watch YouTube until later in my day because I saw that and I was like, come on, man. So it kind of affected me. But if you want to see someone that talks about it pretty in depth, I would say take a look at the news we have right now. Deion Sanders had a lot to say because his team was actually is in Houston, and he had some things to say to his team. So yeah, rest in peace to my guy, and I hope things go well. I hate the fact. Have you seen anything that's happened?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, man, it's a shame. Obviously, rest in peace. And you're right. It's sickening, and it's one of those things that you're right. I don't even want to turn on the news. I don't want to go on my phone.
Exactly.
It's too many, too often. It's a shame.
Yeah. It's so weird. Actually, if you want to watch something, if you're someone that's a fan of the Migos and in particular of them two, Quavo and Takeoff, watch the Drink Champs interview. Actually, at Ron Homecoming on the way back, I just listened to the whole podcast, and that was probably the first podcast where you see him talking and you get to know him in all these years. And like after that podcast, I was like, yo, this is the first time you hear him, like his voice, because he never talks. He's one of the chillest rappers in the game. And in the interview, he's normally just like there. But that interview, he was talking his shit, and he said, give me his flower. It was it's crazy to see.
It is.
Switching topics, we're going to start off with your guys. We're going to start off with we got to just keep talking about baseball. We got to start off with the baseball talk. I give you the floor being as your home team. As well. Are you actually going to the game tonight? What game is it? Game 4?
Game 4 tonight. Game 5 tomorrow. Unfortunately not. We tried getting a few tickets, but resale right now is like $1,500. So
I can get you tickets to the Sixers game if you want to go, but
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, but I got some free tickets.
I saw Sixers tickets are going for like $10 right now, so that doesn't surprise me.
No one's going. So someone got me on I have mad tickets, and I was like, you want to go to the game? I'm like, yeah, and I was like, I'm not going to Philly tonight.
Yeah, no. That's no. I mean, let's kick it off. Was very nervous going into Game 3, and it's something about playing in Philly, man. I mean, they're not only winning these games, but they are blowing teams out. They're hitting home runs. They feed off this crowd.
That was a dog walk.
Yeah. I mean, it was over. The first inning, it was over. It felt like it. Again, Astros are a phenomenal team. The more this series kind of progressed over the weekend, the Phillies stole Game 1 somehow. Mm-hmm. Game 2 was a kind of a bump in the road, but it kind of made me think like, okay, shit, this Astros team is here for a reason, and they are legitimately a very, very good baseball team. So I was worried going into yesterday. I think it was kind of a must-win for the Phillies.
Yeah.
But, I mean, beat them by a touchdown, and now you feel good because you have these next 2 games at home that you can win this thing in Philly. You won't have to go back to Houston. I don't know if that'll happen. I think I had Phillies in 6 originally.
Yeah.
Had them going back to Houston. It's hard for me to believe that this Astros team would just, get swept out. But when you watch that game, I mean, it's an incredible atmosphere, and this team I think perfectly fits this city. Bryce Harper fits this city. Guys like Kyle Schwarber, man. Like honestly, like they have fun, they get rowdy, they are just like they're living life. The fans are feeding off of them. They are for sure feeding off the fans. And I think I told you this before. Going to a few games now, watching this on TV, like these pitchers, you can tell are physically rattled. Like you can tell they're walking around the mound. They're taking an extra few deep breaths. I think, I wanted to point out too, I'm sure if you've seen, but the big story was the starting pitcher for the Astros tipping his pitches.
Yeah.
I know I claim my love for Bryce Harper. That is one of the reasons why. The dude is a student of the game.
Before we get to that, that's what I was going to bring up right now. The question I want to propose to you. Mm-hmm. What does this series look like without that addition? Imagine, without that addition, you don't have the tip. You don't have the home run sending you guys to the World Series. It's just that's what it's about, bringing these guys in. That's what it's about. And, I love that you brought that up, the student of the game. That I can guarantee you he tipped off that hitch that he has.
And he was, and I saw a little further and was kind of keeping tabs. So every off-speed pitch, his glove would go past his eyes, forehead. Every fastball, he was keeping that thing close to the chest. It's one of these things that you really don't see in Major League Baseball, especially at that stage, because it is so obvious that you see everybody on Twitter was talking about it. If we can all figure it out, somebody in that dugout for the Astros had to figure it out.
I tell you, you bring it up, though. That's the atmosphere of Philly. You forget all your mechanics. You forget what you've been taught all year, what you've been doing all year. That's a new atmosphere. Mechanics got the fucking winner. You're just trying to win the pitch, and you tip off.
Yep. No, you're exactly right. And again, Bryce Harper's a tremendous player. He's been dragging the team. Again, don't get me wrong. The entire team has played.
This is my house.
Yeah. You need your MVP, your big money guys to step up in these moments. Yeah. He has been. And it's just to see him in his first at-bat, first pitch, launch a 2-run home run. That place is going crazy. His first thought is, let me get back to the dugout and talk to every single person I can. Yeah. Let me talk to every single person and tell them what I saw, tell them to pick it up. His mind is just so into this thing. 100%. And that's what's exciting to me is that as well as this team is doing at home, as much fun as they have, they are still kind of honing it back and having that mentality of it's not over. We still have a job to do. Yeah. And that is what I like, because you see these teams, these young teams make it deep in the playoffs, make it to a championship, and maybe the experience kind of takes over for a team like the Astros. Yeah. But it's very cool to see the Phillies kind of have all these guys having fun and at the same time saying to themselves, we still got 2 more to go before we can really have a party.
And I think that my biggest takeaway from that game wasn't about the score. It was the ability of ease it looked like to win that game. And the only reason I say that is it saved your bullpen. And that going into the rest of these games that's what's going to win you these games. Having I'm forgetting the pitcher that won the game for you guys in the beginning of the game.
Ranger Torres. Yeah, exactly.
Having him pitch so many innings, do so well, save your bullpen, and exceeded expectations of what they thought of him going into this. He was a pickup this season, right?
No, so he a little bit of a different road. He's kind of a younger guy.
Yeah,
he developed into a starting pitcher, I think last year, maybe later on the year before that. But he was a bullpen guy, like you just mentioned. Like the expectations for him coming in weren't to be just a stone cold, still heartbeat the entire time. God, do my job. He's been awesome the whole postseason.
Yeah, I love his swagger and what was it? His last inning pitching, it was 2 on base, 2 outs, and to battle in that. I was surprised to see how much trust that the manager had in him to let him fight this inning out. That's a fucking coin flip that I would have been shitting bricks, because you make that mistake, they go up, now they hit a home run. That's a what do they say? That's what's called in a game. That moment in a game can change the trajectory, turning point in a game. Yep. So when I looked at that, I was like, all right, they have some swagger towards him. But my biggest opinion, the bullpen. He just saved you guys the bullpen going into this week. And I do love the rain delay. I like that rain delay saved you guys as well. And going into a sense of now you got today's game, off Friday, Saturday and Sunday, baby. That's the weekend. This is it. This is it. If it has to go to game 7. If it has to, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think the rain delay helped to definitely set up the pitching rotation. That's where the Astros, you touched on a great point. The Astros bullpen, top to bottom, is lights out. And with the Phillies, you really have about 3 guys, maybe 4, that you really, really trust. So not to have to use those, 2, 3, 4 guys that you're going to use in these high leverage situations, give those arms another day off.
Yeah.
You're right. It's huge. And going to these next 2 games, you're right. They're all available now. It's all hands on deck. If you absolutely need them, short leashes and let's roll.
Now, one thing that I wanted to bring up as well, we've seen the Astros do what the Astros do, and I'm conflicted. I have so much conflicted. If you would have asked me a month ago who I'm rooting for in the series, I wouldn't give a fuck if the Phillies won it. Now I have a disdain in my heart of fuck Phillies, so it's hard for me to root for the Phillies. But deep in my heart, I'm like, all right, I'd rather the Phillies than the Astros. But are you seeing the allegations of the Astros pitchers cheating? What are your perspectives? What are your thoughts?
So it's tough. My initial
what I'm talking about as well.
Yes. So I think with the pitchers, with the pitching staff on Saturday night, we saw the starting pitcher for the Astros go to his glove a lot, touch his face a lot. Yeah. For those non-baseball fans out there, there's been a lot of substances that make your hands really, sticky, get that tight grip on the ball.
Yep.
There's been a lot of substances that has been made illegal in the past couple of years. Any other team, if it was the Yankees, if it was the Red Sox, if it was Cleveland, I probably don't think anything of it. But because it's this team that's cheated to get a championship before, that the night before there was even another allegation of a player, their catcher, using an illegal bat.
Really?
Apparently, side story, Major League Baseball changed how they make their wood bats back in 2010. Okay. This was Albert Pujols' bat from way before that he gifted this player, used it in the game. Again, probably doesn't mean anything, but because it's the Astros, you have to maybe look. There are certain, every pitcher probably uses a little something that is in the realm of legal within Major League Baseball. Who's to say he wasn't wiping the sweat off? I don't know. Because he was that good and because it's the Astros, you have to at least look at it as a possibility that here we go again. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right, now we're back. I want to go look at his glove because it didn't look like a substance on the glove, but I do know, wear and tear happens throughout the season of a player doing the same consistent things. He grabs here, he grabs here, he grabs on his face. Like, players have the same consistencies of touching. I know everyone has a superstition, so especially when it's pitching. So it could look as if he is doing that, but it just looks like wearing. I know he has a brown. I think it was a light or darker brown glove that he was using, and he doesn't have not enough spin like your pitcher yesterday had. The spin on his ball is disgusting, but he didn't have nothing like that. I was like, Jesus. Some of those pitches, I'm like, fuck, man. He would sit me down.
And again, there's, like I said, if it was any other team in the league, there's not a question. And again, there's probably not a question if the Phillies do what they did last night to him on Saturday, right? If he's doing the same things and they're hitting 5 home runs off him, I don't think anybody's saying, was he using anything?
Yeah.
Maybe he was. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but, just because it's the Astros.
We got to see how this season. I don't know, man. I'm so conflicted. I don't give a fuck about Philly, so I'm like, fuck the Phillies. I don't want you guys to win this one. But it's kind of just the underdog story of the most similar thing we had to this is maybe when Washington won it, I think it's the Astros, right? When they won it, it's a little bit similar to that, but this is just so left field. It's when was the last time a wild card team in the NFL won a Super Bowl? When you normally don't see those things happen. So the fact that they're going on this journey, and I think what's even crazier is the pickups. I hate what's called. I'm bad with players' names, but the guy with the long hair, his hair looks like he just needs to take a fucking shower. I'm just like, this dude. Oh
yeah, Brandon Marsh.
But he's balling. That's a pickup this year, right?
Yep.
The other guy, the small dude, I fuck with him heavy, bro. The other dude that hit all the homers, what's his name?
Kyle Schwarber.
Regular dude, just a bomber, bro. That's
what I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. This team, honestly, is just a likable group of dudes. Even our high-paid players are just down to earth. I'm ready to fucking fight. I'm ready to win this damn thing. Like, they're not cocky. They're not, I mean, they're cocky in their own way, but you know, they're honestly like, they just seem like genuine hard-working dudes. I heard somebody say, if you were to put one of these guys in the stands chugging a beer, they probably just look like a regular Philly fan. Like, they're not like, it's so funny to me.
Sure.
It's an easy team to root for the city. And I think if you're, you know, just another baseball fan, like you said, you come in saying fuck Philly, and even you're kind of getting a little pulled over on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think Philly fans deserve this shit. That's about it. I can't wait for the Eagles' heartbreak to happen. But hey, it's fun. All in all, it's fun. It's fun to watch. I definitely would rock a Phillies. I would go down there and root for the Phillies in regards to. I got shit too for our episode of for my boy that's Yankees fans of me wearing the Houston hat. And,
as you should. As you should.
and I knew it too. He knew I was trolling. But any last words? Oh, I'm gonna make sure I include this as well. I love seeing like the little like decibel things, how loud a stadium can get, and Penn Medicine or whatever like that, Penn whatever on their Richter scale of like the Earth, like how loud decibel was. It was only from Bryce Harper's home runs. It was the first home run. It's just crazy, bro, crazy.
It's honestly, and again, we'll move on. I know we got a lot of talk on, but you know, I even heard former Phillies pitcher Cole Hamels, one of the main guys on that World Series team in '08.
Yeah.
He has played in the playoffs with the Phillies. He's played against, you know, the Phillies coming back. He's played on other teams in the postseason. I even heard him say earlier today, I can't even describe what it's like playing in this city in front of these fans. Mm-hmm. So you literally just have to experience it. I've been around the league. I've pitched for years. There's been nothing like the atmosphere here. And again, I think we see it.
I love seeing that they brought back the old Phillies manager, Ryan Howard, all those guys. You could tell that they're like, we want them to win so bad, but fuck, I wish I was out there as well.
I know.
I love to see it.
These guys are loved, so
yeah, exactly.
Cool to see.
I love how they all get smaller too. Like Ryan Howard looks so much. You see how small they get after they get out of the leagues too. That's the thing with football. All right, hoping you guys pull it out. You know what? I want to move straight into college football because to me, fuck the NFL has been dog shit league. So let's talk about college football. I'm gonna go over the scores really quickly. Tennessee beat Kentucky 44-6. Michigan beats Michigan State 29-7. Georgia beat Florida 42-20. Mississippi beat Texas A&M 31-28. The Ohio State beat Penn State 44-31. I want to begin with this. When we look at the rankings, so the rankings just came out. I actually made this docket a couple of days ago before this, but the rankings now is Tennessee at number 1, correct? Mm-hmm. Ohio State
for the playoff. If the season ended today.
Yeah, Tennessee at 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4, Michigan 5, Alabama 6, TCU 7. Now there's been arguing as to why TCU is ranked behind Alabama and things of that nature. And I think it's a bullshit argument. I understand that the coach of TCU, of course, is going to big up his players. And he's right in the fact that it is about a brand that's following it. Now, let's say you have the same schedule or the same outcome next year. You could talk your shit. But and when I look at who have they beaten? They've beaten Oklahoma, which is the only big school. Even Oklahoma's not nothing crazy, but something with a name, 55-24. Now they're blowing everyone out, but they're playing Illinois, Iowa. Like they're not playing these big schools that you cannot put them in front of Alabama, who is week in week out SEC, having to go against tough competition. Now let's see. Let's move you up now. Let's say you make it to the playoffs. Let's see what happens. Let's see if your team can really compete with those guys.
They all want them. I'm glad you brought up that argument because I thought we were going to have a little back and forth on your Ohio State Buckeyes still being only number 2, which I agree with, and we'll touch on.
I agree with that.
But I agree with what you said. I think this has been – I think with some fans, the problem with the playoff is you have the same teams over and over. Like you just said, isn't it Alabama bias? They're going to somehow find their way in again.
Yeah.
But then you get seasons like I believe it was last year – when Cincinnati, right, the true non-Power 5 school made it for the first time. They had a non-Power 5 in there, and they did not belong on the field against Alabama. So that's what it is. So like you said, talk your shit for now. I have TCU actually on upset alert or upset watch this week. talk your shit. Go ahead. But
Yeah.
if it boils down to it, like you said, it's the strength of schedule. It matters in college sports. They just haven't played the schedule that, like you said, any real SEC team has.
People want off of year one, like just year one, you're having a good year. We deserve to be top 5. No. This takes time to build a program. Build the program up. Let's see you build this program up to something better. When I look at who was kicked out, Ole Miss. When Ole Miss was undefeated, but they had allegations against them and couldn't get ranked into the top stuff like that. They consider themselves top champions. Look where they're at now. Like they had a great season going, and they had their ups and downs. But it's no matter what, you're balling in those sessions of like we're still going to ball out and let's see where we rank. Speaking on the Ohio State versus Penn State game, this is the game I was shitting bricks. My dad called me on FaceTime, asked me like, "Hey, you shitting bricks right now, ain't you?" I was like, "Hey man, I ain't looking too good," but I mentioned this, I believe, in week 1 when we talked. This is what separates big programs versus other programs. When I talked about this with Alabama. It's the full 60 minutes. You have to play the full 60 minutes in order to beat a top team like Ohio State, the Alabamas, all these big schools. You have to play. Now, when it comes to the quarterback, oh damn, I took that out. When I look at the quarterback, Sean Clifford, that's his name. When I look at Sean Clifford, he fucking balled his ass off. He was playing for draft. He's a 6-year senior. He's balling for a draft pick. This is it. I know in this market right now, I have to ball out and do all I have to do. Where you fuck yourself over is turnovers. You're not going to beat Ohio State with 3 turnovers. You're not going to beat any team of that caliber with 3 turnovers. You can't make it that far. But I'm not going to lie. That defense, and I'm scared because it does open up a can of worms of whatever that defense was doing for Penn State. It was shutting down C.J. Stroud. It shut down our running game. The only reason we had some success to start opening up our playbook was strictly because of Marvin Harrison Jr. In my opinion, you can call it bias, but the top wide receiver in college football right now.
Sure. No, I agree with you. And, you're right. I think you should be shitting bricks because that game was close for a lot longer than I think we expected. But like you just said, there's something to be said of the argument of you went into a very hostile environment in Penn State. And, dude, literally in a blink of an eye, that game went from you thought Ohio State might lose to, this game really was never close, was it? Like they flipped the switch, and that is why they're number 2 in the nation. Like they belong where they are because they have the talent to, you literally blink, you go to the bathroom, you get a drink, you come back, and it's a completely different ballgame, like out of nowhere. So, listen, they did their thing in a very tough place to play, and took like you said, full game. They played it.
When I look at people, when we look at Marvin Harrison Jr., the way he balled out, 10 receptions for 185 yards, 0 touchdowns, but 185 yards to expand our playbook. Like I was like, we have to get him going because that opens up the run. That opens up, and to be honest, that was a defensive game. We had, I think, 2. I know we had a pick 6. We had all those turnovers that were down towards their end of the field that led us to quick touchdowns, easy touchdowns for us. We had the playbook for that. So that's where it changed over. I see Penn State already calling for the changes in the quarterback. At this point, I don't think it's necessary. Your season is that. Let that quarterback ball out, send him on his end to the league. Probably won't mature into anything into the league, but it definitely was something that I was very surprised to see. Let's see how we bounce back. We don't have anything too crazy of a schedule. I don't believe.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It's a
until Michigan.
You should skip into the Michigan game. Like it should be just a breeze. And again, I know we kind of touched on it already, but that's I think the only reason why they're not the top team, right now, is because the Big Ten is just it's not there.
When we can go back to the rankings, when I look at the rankings, I think giving Tennessee their props as number 1, I'm all for it. You beat Alabama. You beat one of the top dogs. You're demolishing teams. You brought up something crazy. I didn't know what your thinking was on that the Kentucky game. What was your surprise with that game? I didn't catch that game.
Yeah, so honestly, Kentucky has been a team I've watched them during the course of the year. They have a veteran quarterback. Their defense has kind of been flying around. Like Kentucky, that football program has been completely changed.
I've been hearing people talk about it,
And this was a game going in that I said, okay, Tennessee has Georgia now coming up this week, but, going into the game, maybe their minds are on that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a Kentucky team that is a good team, but's been reeling a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe it's something that they overlook. So I really went into this game saying, let's see how Tennessee handles them. And boy, did they handle them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just look at the score. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
They completely dominated a team that has really been top 15, top 20 all year. And again, they didn't overlook them, which I think was huge. And now you have perhaps, again, the game of the year when they go into Georgia. Here's another one. Let's see what you got.
Dogfight.
So, I mean, they won, dominated that game.
I'm getting pissed off with these times. Like they play I think at 3:15 or whatever like that. And I'm like, what are we doing, bro? Like, why are we not making these games, regardless of you don't know like the rankings going into it? No matter what, Tennessee Georgia should be a night game. All these games are like Ohio State Penn State is not a day game. That's a night game. That's especially it's in Penn State. You know you're at Penn State, white out the stadium. That's something for college football. You know what I mean? But when I look at next funny ass Michigan versus Michigan State, I'm sure you saw the fight as well that occurred, and you know it's taking its turn into more legal actions, not just something about it's a regular football fight that we're seeing. If you're the AD, what would you do in this instance for both sides? So if those who haven't seen it, to go take a look. I have it on the screen as well. Michigan State players pretty much jumped one Michigan player, and it is the fault. I can't say it's the fault, but it is. Michigan was still in the field when this occurred, and that player kind of fell out. When you watch another angle, you see him skipping into the locker room. Like he runs into the locker room as if he was going after someone, which is completely stupid. Not to have a helmet on either. I don't know if he had a helmet on and they ripped it off of him. Maybe.
No, yeah.
But
I'm not sure if he did either.
I think he has like a broken nose. He's pretty fucked up. So as an AD in that situation on both sides, if you're the AD from Michigan, if you're the AD from Michigan State, how do you handle the situation?
Such an unfortunate situation. I think we even touched on this game last week. It was like a big rivalry game.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate the storyline of this game just happens to now be this incident.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say the point of if it's going to go towards legal action, maybe you kind of just let it run its course. Figure out what the legal action may be.
Yeah.
As for anyone else that's involved, I mean, listen, we talk about how the competitiveness of sports, the passion that all these guys have, and I mean, they're laying their lives on the line. That was not just another backyard brawl. I mean, that was just an unfortunate event that happened. So there's definitely going to be some suspension, some, kick off the team. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, maybe this is something the coach kind of even takes into his hands and is like, this is not what this program does. Yeah. Because now, again, that's going to be another storyline of, oh, is this what Michigan State is? I mean, they get blown out and now they're just beating the shit out of this kid. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a very unfortunate scene for a Michigan State program that has seemed to, come alive over the last few years. Yeah.
When I look at the inconsistencies with security at these events, we have so much security around the fucking head coaches and stuff like that. This was recently something I saw at a high school game as well with like, there's only one way at the Michigan State game. And as well as when you have I think it's the Ohio State. Is it at Ohio State? No, at Michigan. When you're at Michigan, you share the same fucking locker room. That's the same way there. You share one space to get there. There's only one way to get there. So if that may be Michigan State stays on the field and you do your song and someone stays on the field to do their song while the other team goes into the tunnel, by all means do that. But we can't just have teams after a win like that. You can't have Ohio State and Michigan both going to the locker room at the same time. There's a famous clip of video. Ohio State players were coming in after warming up and Michigan State players jumped through. And they were fighting back and forth, but there was a ton of security right then and there that broke it up. It's one of my favorite videos. They play every year when it's Michigan versus Ohio State, right? Yeah. And it's like there should have been so much security in that tunnel to keep these players separated. They understand the rivalry. It's rivalry week. You understand this, and like that's at fault for the school as well, in my opinion.
Definitely, no, definitely, you're right.
When I think that's all all I have for college football. It's an exciting week coming up. I'll keep that for the end
Huge
as
week.
well.
Definitely.
Moving on to NFL. I have nothing to talk about. I had nothing but to shit on these guys. The Cowboys won, Eagles won. Yeah, another weekend in NFL. Did you watch any games? I just watched the Cowboys game and I saw some clips.
Yeah. I was at the Eagles game with my brother Jack, who's a Steelers fan, so that was cool.
Hey, man, I got to talk about one thing about the Eagles. I have never in a while, I have not seen a more disrespectful play than what he did in the end zone by pointing to the double. I've never seen something so disrespectful in my life that I was like, he's Himothy. Like, he's him.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's all I can say.
I think that was on his third touchdown of the day on literally the same play.
Right.
I mean, it is like you can't stop me. You can't stop me. Figure someone else that can, because this is not fair. And AJ Brown, I love him, man. He's been an absolute stud his entire career. So the fact he's on the Eagles is still
dumb. How dumb is Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean,
I watched Busting with the Boys, and that's Taylor Lewan is the player there, and he was hating a little bit. He was like, sucked to see. You hate to see it because apparently he was asking for so much money. But hey, man, motherfuckers balling out. I don't know if you know the Stomp the Yard skit that they did for the celebration. That's iconic in its own, and it's hilarious to see. And it's like, this is the swagger the Cowboys fucking need as well. Exactly. The Cowboys had some swagger, man. One thing that I did have to – how did Jack do with the fans?
He did well. He got lucky. We sat next to two Steelers fans themselves. And I mean, honestly, there's not like –
that's not a rival.
It's definitely like the media always hypes us up of the Battle of Pennsylvania. Like, there is no hatred, I think, either way. Neither fan base really hates either fan base or either team. So, I mean, it really was all love. You know, you had a couple of, drunk fans that were – poking around, but it was nothing anything that bad.
Not the Dallas one.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was a good time.
Good.
The Eagles look good. I think the one stat that I do have from that game was the Eagles put up 35 points without having a red zone snap. They did not snap the ball in the red zone, so it was just big play after big play.
Big play, yeah, I was gonna say.
Short week. They play the Texans on Thursday night. Just honestly, get me to 8-0 at this point. That'll be for the first time in my life. That'll be the game I'm worried less about because the Phillies will be on. Get me to 8-0. Have that little mini bye and let's ramp up. But I mean, at least we had an exciting trade deadline because you're right. The rest of the NFL, it's just the bad teams are bad. They're really bad.
And I wanted to touch on that. I look at Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football has sucked. In my opinion, I look to see is that the blame of Amazon. This is the first year they're figuring it out. The commentary sucks. The games aren't that exciting. I look at the NFL like next year you need to pick better games going in. I need better schedules of during the week. Sundays during the day, pick whatever games you want. These teams I'm seeing Monday night, and now Monday night was a better game as well with the Bills on TV. Like that was a better game, but we run into the same things of Thursday nights suck, and then Sunday nights have not been the best either. It's been Sunday during the day where we see good games. So I put that as fault. Another thing that I wanted to bring up that's kind of interesting is how low September has been. This is like a lot of these scores that you're seeing are so low going into it because they're calling September just another preseason, right? We're not seeing teams warm up until October, and I was wondering why that may be. Whether are players truly seeing, like, especially the teams that are good, noticing around the league that like teams aren't that good. If you suck, you suck. If you're in question of being good, like we're saving you for the end of the season. We're saving players for the end of the season. We're not going balls to the wall every single game in fear of injury and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think honestly, I was trying to think of a reason why the scores have been so low. Yeah, I'll make an argument that these defensive players now are just that much better than what we've seen. I mean, look no further than Micah Parsons, man. I mean, that dude runs like a running back. Yeah, I mean, I did see his fumble recovery.
Yeah,
I mean, he just looks like a gigantic running back. Yeah. And you're seeing these guys that are coming through, and for years now, through Pee Wee, high school, college ball, it's getting to the point where if you have like a freak athlete on your team, they're not just going to quarterback. They're not going to running back. Like, they're going to defensive end. They're going to linebackers. They're going to safeties. And I think you're seeing now just how there's so many good defensive players now. Maybe it's just that. Maybe that the NFL is catching up back to there's just a lot of freak athletes that are on the defensive side of the ball now.
Well, I do know going in, like when I was going through all like the applying to colleges and even interested in playing sports in college, the thing was to step away from your normal positions. You know, the market is flooded with wide receivers. The market is full with running backs and stuff like that. To flood the market, you turn on to defensive side. If you think you're an offensive player, you turn on to defensive side and you become a monster. That's your odds of making it to the next level. And a lot of these guys who have aggressions, who are wide receivers, they always say, you know, DBs are wide receivers who can't catch. You know, DBs are wide receivers who, a lot of them are fast as fuck, who notice like, yo, I'm going to make it some way. Turn to DB. I mean, that's the same thing we have with why am I so fucking bad with names? Diggs at cornerback. Diggs that was at Alabama as a wide receiver. He was pissed that Nick Saban was like, yo, you need to fucking change and become a cornerback. Look where he's at now. You know what I mean? Like, these things exist and these things happen.
I mean, just look at the last few drafts, right? I think last year the top two picks were defensive ends. Yeah, guys like, you know, the Bosa brothers, Kayvon Thibodeau on the Giants now, Micah Parsons, a top 12 pick. Like, these teams are telling you now who these guys like coming out of school are. If you're not a quarterback needing team and you have a top 8 pick, you're either going offensive line or probably defensive line. And games are won in the trenches. But, you know, honestly, just look in the past couple drafts, look at the top 10. It seems like you're flooded with maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks, same amount, if not more, of like defensive ends and linebackers that are coming out that are just, again, like we said, just athletes that are changing the game.
I think now, too, that we're moving to a league where the league quarterback position is becoming younger. Like, we're about to have our new, you know, regime of, let's see who our Peyton Mannings or Tom Brady's, Eli Mannings are. They're about to come through. And, you know, so it'll take some time for them to understand, you know, how do I demolish teams and how do I beat teams as a quarterback? So that's another perspective I did think about. Talking about that Cowboys game, I knew going in that the Bears were shit. I feel so bad for Justin Fields. He is running for his life.
Every week he's looking better. I know I think we've talked about him every week for good reason. He's definitely doing with you know what he's given. Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you, if you watch that game, you're like, dude, this motherfucker is running for his life, bro. At no point, and he makes a dumb play of jumping over Michael Parsons, and not touching him as he down. And you see the sounds like touch him, and Michael Parsons is so dead, he just takes flight, he just takes off, right? But one of my biggest takeaways from this game was, in the conspiracy that I had that everyone knows is circling right now, and as a biased fan, I had a hard time dealing with the possibility of, do we get rid of Zeke? Do we open up cap room? Does this make us a better player to open up Zeke? Because we have a running back. We do have Pollard. And, like, I looked it up, and I wanted to, you know, get more of the numbers. I never really do this. But I know Zeke is under contract through the 2026 season, signing a 6-year deal, $90 million contract extension. But in September of 2019, we gave him $50 million guaranteed. This is where the conspiracies have started to come up with, like, all right, is 22 going to be his last year of the $50 million guaranteed to pay him out, leaving that amount left on his contract? And when I look at Pollard, he's doing his thing. I think I wrote down here it is. As we go through, as we look for this season, Zeke is at 443 yards with 109 carries, but we have Pollard at 506 yards at 81 carries. So take away all those carries. When I look at Pollard, what he's picking up, the best plays I've seen Zeke make this year was at that Eagles game. Was that like that 20-yard touchdown that he had against the Eagles? Besides that, he hasn't shown me nothing great. And now we iced him this week so that, you know, we have a bye this week upcoming. But it brings me up Memphis Cat that's running as hard as Pollard. I love to see it. I think he could become one of our running backs. But I'm torn between the fact of, do we let go of Zeke to go somewhere else? So this is what happens to Cowboys. We have a player that was once our main guy. And I mean, this happened with DeMarcus Murray, right? Like with the Cowboys, he did shit. You know what I mean? And then he went on and fucking had a great career going forward. Did this with taking it back with Danny Amendola. Goes on and we wanted to sign him as a practice player. Goes on to win Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that happen. So I don't know. I'm torn between it. But either way, I love Pollard. I love the way he balled out, and he showed you he can carry a team. I mean, it was against a Bears team, but I believe in him.
No, I think running back is just one of those positions that, again, going back to how good these guys are that are coming up through the system and the college ranks now. I mean, it's one of those positions. It seems like you just don't re-sign these guys. I mean, how many running backs are just continuously, being as dominant as they are for more than 3, maybe 4 years?
You only have Derrick Henry.
Exactly. And he's a freak of nature. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's been doing it, but he's been in and out of the lineup for the past 2 years with injury. So, and then again, you see these guys that are going first, second, third rounds of the NFL draft and are coming in and making an immediate impact. Just a huge impact. I mean, look at the Seahawks running back right now, Kenneth Walker, Michigan State.
Yeah,
he's been the league's leading rusher since he's taken over in the backfield. A rookie, maybe second round pick.
Yeah,
and he's just dominating. So, I mean, it's tough because you guys gave Zeke that contract, which is definitely a Jerry Jones, hey, big money, big game, come look at me move.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, we've been saying Pollard has been looking like the better running back for 2 years now, so it's no surprise.
Yeah, it's just so hard to deal with that. Last thing on the Cowboys, should I entertain Odell Beckham coming in?
Yeah.
In my opinion, we're already paying Smith to be a leadership role for our linemen. Do we want to play 2 players to come in and show of leadership to these guys? I think Odell still has time left on his career. He does have that injury-prone incidents, and I think if we're able to get him for something cheap, why not? Why not put him? And I think he would be great in the market, in my eyes.
Yeah, no, I heard earlier today that the Cowboys were even looking to trade for Brandon Cooks on the Houston Texans. So you're in the market for a wide receiver.
Oh yeah, we know that.
If Odell can come in, if you get him cheap, absolutely. I mean, listen, we talked about it. Dak Prescott, he's not a guy that can win by himself. So the more help
I agree,
you can bring in for him, the better. Especially, again, I know I'm an Eagles fan, but you have to look at your main competitor right now is this Eagles offense that is rolling right now. You're going to need some other weapons other than, CeeDee Lamb and injury-prone Michael Gallup. Yeah,
and I mean, I don't know if I took a screenshot of this thing, but when you look at the Eagles offense, it's just that line, man. I've been sitting in that fucking pocket for days and days, and his pocket is amazing, man. He's so comfortable. And the last thing I'll talk about for the NFL is watching Bustin' with the Boys. They talk about your boy Jalen Hurts, and in comparison to Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson sometimes I feel like Russell Wilson has half. This is the inside scoop that he has half the team pretty much. That like half the players are like taken to his weirdness, his corniness, stuff like that, and half the players like get the fuck out of here. But like that shit we talked about on the plane when he was doing jumping jacks, he was doing sprints. That's true, and half the team was doing it with him. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they have like inside information, right? But they talked about Jalen Hurts and the way Jalen Hurts leads his team is 100% buy-in. Like he has 100% that locker room. When you watch after the game, he gives those speeches. He has the locker room. They're attentive to Jalen Hurts, and I love to see that leadership role. And I think Dak carries that as well. I do love that about Dak as well. Dak does have this team, and he carries that well. I was a little nervous. He did get stepped on his other hand, but I don't give a fuck. That's your non-throwing hand, so you're balling out regardless.
No, I think that was the thing with Jalen Hurts. It was never like his mental. It was never his leadership capabilities. You're right. These guys follow him into whatever war he's going into. And now he's just leading by example, which is even more so. These guys are like, we're dying for this kid.
Swagger, man, swagger. Anything left on the NFL talk?
No. I think again, next time we talk, Eagles will still be undefeated, and again, haven't even really had to worry.
Yeah, I don't think you will worry until it comes to we get tested in the playoffs. Yeah,
not when it's Steelers and Texans. There's not much really to worry about there.
All right, moving on to the next segment. Big news. I think the only couple of things I've seen is Dan Snyder taking a huge step to selling the Washington Commanders. I don't know if anyone has been researching this. It hasn't been too crazy in my world, but I did some more research on this, and he has been put in public by, I guess the owners have put it out there for him to sell the team, as it brings a bad look for him. He's only 57 years old, bought the team in 1999. He has dealt with the controversy since he bought the team. And most in most recent years dealing with allegations and workplace misconduct that went all the way to a congressional hearing. So Snyder has appeared. I do like this, talking shit that he even has brought up. Like, you got to the other owners. You don't want me to start exposing the rest of the league as well. And who was the first one to jump out and say, don't fuck with us? It was Jerry Jones, right? Jerry Jones had some closet, and we all know Jerry Jones got something in the closet, right? And Jerry Jones is the first one to come out there and just say that. And, no matter what, he's going to make a buck. And I'm excited to see where that team, once he sells and washes his hands of it, let's see where that team goes. But that's some of the biggest thing, as well as the Steve Nash. They both stepped away, being fired from the Brooklyn Nets. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I guess first on the Dan Snyder thing, as Eagles and Cowboys fans, unfortunate for us, because as long as he's there, they're going to be dog shit.
Yeah.
So I hope he stays. As an NFL fan, get him out. I mean, the fact he's been there for as long as he's been there, it only leads me to believe of what you just said. Like, these owners have things in the closets, and he's just threatening to air it all out.
Oh, yeah. I would air it out. If I was him, I would step away, get my money, air it all the fuck out.
Yeah, and that's honestly, they're a dumpster fire right now. I know we touched on the situations going on with Ime over in Boston, and now they're going to bring him in as their next head coach.
Yeah.
The dude is clearly a good coach, but I'm still under the thought that something crazy had to happen over in Boston, and now even more so. Why are the Celtics just letting him go? It went from a year suspension to now they're like, dude, fine, get out the door.
Yeah.
It's weird. He's a good coach, but, I mean, that's just – Kyrie is a head case. Ben Simmons, you know how I feel about him. He sucks ass.
100%.
KD is aging like crazy, and now you're bringing in a coach who very well may be one of the league's best, but is bringing all of this baggage along with him. It's listen, it's the Brooklyn Nets. They're a flashy organization. They want the stories, but as far as basketball goes, I don't see them going really anywhere.
I agree. Do you see anything funny in sports? I think the only thing I had that's not funny, but it's pretty crazy to me, is Jake Paul, the truth, as he beats Anderson Silva. He did knock him down. We don't really talk about boxing or the UFC and stuff like that. I'm starting to get into the UFC to start watching, weekly boxing and all the UFC events that go on. But I think, Jake Paul's here to stay. And I think I would really love to see him just box someone that's not so much older than him, double his age almost. I would love to see him box someone that's straight out of the MMA, like that might be even active. I did see that he caught up. He's not going to fight him, Canelo, and I forget who else, but he's never going to fight these guys. But I do want him to get in the ring with someone. He definitely showing his flash as well. How about you, man? Anything in that realm?
No, definitely. I think that's a good point. Like, touch on that fight. That was a big deal. When Jake Paul first started all this, it was like, okay, here's this annoying ass kid. What was he, like a YouTube influencer or whatever the hell?
Very annoying.
I'm giving him his flowers, man. He is training his ass off. He's fighting these dudes. He's beating these guys. Mm-hmm. This is how boxers and these fighters get their starts, right? Yeah. I mean, maybe when's the last time, if ever, that a guy just came in and is facing big names? That's going to come. The fact that he's taking this shit seriously, he's going out and he's winning his matches, like, hats off to him. I was wrong about him. I thought he was kind of just doing it to get the money in the show. I think he truly just loves this shit, and he's working his ass off, and it's showing.
I mean, when we look back to where he started, he fought Nate Robinson.
Exactly.
So we all were like, oh, Nate Robinson knocked him the fuck out. And Nate Robinson got knocked the fuck out. Now we're like, oh, it doesn't look so bad on Nate, actually. It's not that bad on him. Yeah, we look at him different.
I mean, I see that fight, and I'm like, okay, here's two guys. They're going to make some money. Everybody's going to watch. It'll be cool. But again, now I don't even think it's money trumps all. But I think he genuinely just wants to now prove a point that he's a great athlete.
100%. All right, for our last segment, we're looking for next week in the upsets that you see. I'm only looking forward to number one, number two, Tennessee versus Georgia as well. Yep. That's all I'm looking forward to. It's at Georgia. As a college fan, I don't know who to pick, but as an analyst, I'm going with Tennessee. The fast and flashy. Is Georgia expected to win this game? Have you looked at the
Yes. So Georgia right now, I believe at home they are 8-point favorites.
What does that mean? See, I don't bet or gamble anything like that. So they're targeted to win by 8.
Yes. So if you were to take them betting, if you were to take Georgia would need to win by 9 points or more for you to win your bet. Okay. So being an 8-point favorite, like that's a lot. Like that's going into a game saying
really
Vegas expects this to be more than a touchdown win for Georgia.
Oh no, I have Tennessee win this one off of merit alone of the way that offense is balling out. I wonder if they can hold down if their defense at Tennessee can hold down Georgia at Georgia. But either way, I know it's gonna be a good game. I know it's gonna be a dogfight, and I'm excited for that one.
Definitely. I think I'm going to take – I know we touched on them earlier with TCU. They're facing a 4-4 Texas Tech team that probably has no business winning. But fuck it. I think it's going to be – Texas Tech can put up points. TCU can put up points. Let's have a fireworks show, a 50-40 game. Yeah, I'll take Texas Tech there. And, again, I was actually just looking. So you know what this week's night game is. It's Alabama going into LSU at 7 o'clock. So that's going to be fun. I heard a stat earlier that LSU has not beaten Bama at home since 2010. I think that continues. I think Bama, they always find ways to sneak into this college football playoff. This would be a huge step in that direction. I'll go with Bama there. But my upset, give me Texas Tech.
Word. Yeah, I still have Alabama win that one. I'm legit going to be watching football just until that Alabama LSU game is over with. The only thing I have to look forward to in the NFL is, it's the Cowboys bye week is a big rivalry, a new rivalry, in my opinion, is Titans versus Chiefs. That's going to be a good game. No matter what, that's going to be something close, and that's Sunday Night Football. So that's the only thing I'm looking forward to. Yeah, as well.
That's right. Yeah, I think we'll see. We'll really get to see how, I guess legit these Titans are going on a little bit of a winning streak now.
Yep.
Chiefs off of a bye week. I think they're next to unstoppable. Yeah. But again, Eagles play Thursday night, so Sunday's going to be
split. Going to be split on TV.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But you know what? Good position to be in. Hopefully, Thursday night I'll be on the streets of Broad, partying a championship.
We'll see, man. Gotta get some videos. Word. Anything else you want to touch on, brother?
No, I think let's keep this thing rolling. I'll stick with my Phillies in 6. But yeah, I think, nervous time for the Phils. As for anything else, man, that's my main focus.
Yes, sir. Well, this has been another episode in Those We Trust podcast. Please continue to support. Follow us on Instagram at WeTrust_podcast. We're on SoundCloud, YouTube as well, Apple Music, and Spotify. Follow my boy on the Instagram as well at
Liam Stokes 11. Do it up.
Dang. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. Next week, please check out In Those We Trust podcast, our back to regular schedule program. A great conversation with Roy. We talk about real estate, we talk about business owning, and we shoot it in his deli. So it's going to be a great episode. Check that out. Airing Monday as well. Thank you guys.
All right. Peace, Lee.